I remember she looked at me right into my eyes and then afterwards looked down as we were both in swimsuits, and I am not joking, she noticed my eggplant was super bricked. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba and welcome back to a super embarrassing story. So today's story all takes place back when I was in middle school, and this was my grade 7 year. Now, I remember back in grade 7, I will say I think puberty was hitting the hardest at that moment. If you guys don't know what that means, well, you're probably too young to be watching this channel, but puberty was a big thing for me that I was hitting back when I was in grade 7, and I will say this much, it was not easy. Knowing that, you know, when guys hit puberty, we start getting bricked and stuff was a pain, and especially for girls, I understand you guys hitting puberty is actually super painful compared to us, but for us, it just gets super annoying because, well, when you have something you can't control like your eggplant, it starts to really get annoying to the point where you get embarrassed every moment of your day where you can't even think straight. And I remember back in grade 7, this happened to me one time because in my grade 7 year, I remember I walked into my homeroom classroom. Now in homeroom, we were all basically sitting down at our desks and everything, and instantly our teacher walks up to the front of the class and says, "Okay, class, so I'm gonna be handing you guys permission slips to go to the swimming pool. I hope you guys are all excited. This is gonna be amazing." I remember when she said the swimming pool, I was like kind of like happy to be going swimming, but at the same time, I wasn't much of a swimmer back in grade 7, so obviously, you know, I was a little on the fence about it. But all the guys were all freaking out, being super excited because they all wanted to show off how they could jump from the highest diving board, which I don't understand how that's a flex. It's terrifying to jump off a diving board. But basically, all of them were just talking about, like, you know, going swimming and getting super excited, and when the guys were talking about getting excited, all the girls were as well. So me, I'd pretend to be excited as well with them and all this stuff, and while the teacher was handing out permission slips, I will say this, I knew that it was going to be my doom. Because like I said, I was hitting puberty that time, and I knew that if I saw something I was even slightly attracted to, even if it was like a really attractive Grand Theft Auto character, I would get bricked. Yeah, it was like a superpower that I could not control. And I will say this, I basically kind of did not want to go swimming. So I remember heading home that day, I ended up walking up to my parents, and I ended up basically hiding the permission slip into my backpack because I was just too scared to, you know, bring it up to them and be like, yeah, like, I don't want to go, because then it's going to go into the talks of, you know, the birds and the bees, which I do not want to talk about with them. Anyways, I remember the next day happened, and out of nowhere, I ended up seeing my mom come downstairs to my bedroom. And I remember as I was playing my Xbox, out of nowhere, my mom ended up going into my backpack for some reason, and she found the permission slip. My mom would usually check my backpack once in a blue moon because she doesn't want, you know, food to rot in there, because sometimes I would not eat the lunches that she would pack for me, so it makes sense why she was in there. But when she saw the permission slip, I remember she came downstairs and said, "Bubba, why aren't you going to the swimming pool? Why didn't you tell us about this?" "Oh, Mom, don't worry about it. I'm not much of a swimmer anyway." "Bubba, what do you mean? Your dad taught you how to swim." I'm good, Mom. I don't really want to swim, you know?" "Bubba, you're going swimming. The school wants you to go swimming, you go swimming." Okay, I'll go. I remember the next day happened, and I ended up handing in my permission slip, and I brought my swimsuit to school, and I will say this much, I realized how much I really did not want to go swimming once I got there. But I remember all the guys were super excited that, you know, we were all going swimming, and we all actually ended up heading over to the swimming pool. And I'm telling you this right now, when we got to the swimming pool, it was the most embarrassing thing ever. Because I remember once we got there, we all ended up heading straight to, you know, the change rooms. And when we got to the change rooms, I remember everyone started changing and, you know, getting into like their swimsuits. And honestly, in my mind, I was thinking, you know what? I should be able to handle this. I was trying to like basically make myself more brave, I guess, in a sense. And I am not joking when I say this. Once I got out of the change room and I saw my entire class at the pool and girls getting wet at the swimming pool, it instantly happened where I got bricked. Now, I got bricked so quick, and I remember I didn't know how I was supposed to, you know, make it calm down. So right away at that moment, I ended up looking around to see if I can see anything that would make this thing disappear. And I realized that there was a really big fat woman at the other side of the pool that was really disgusting looking. Not trying to fat shame anyone, but this woman was not attractive whatsoever to me. So I remember I would quickly look at her and it would go back down. So knowing that I had something to stare at when I was, you know, in panic was a good thing. So going on from there, me thinking I had a plan and everything and had like a whole idea sorted out that I was gonna just keep staring at this woman was not the smartest thing, because I will say it got pretty creepy at some moments where I would get bricked and then instantly I would end up staring at this woman. This woman would look at me thinking, what in the world is this kid doing? But at the same time, the plan was working. Things were going okay, everything was fine until it wasn't. Because I remember out of nowhere, there was a moment where one of the guys ended up walking up to me saying, "Yo, Bubba, all the guys want to play tag and some of the girls are playing. Do you want to play?" I remember from there, all of us started playing tag, and I will say this, it was super fun to play tag with everybody. But one thing I tried avoiding was tagging the girls. I never wanted to tag the girls because I didn't want to touch them, because I knew if I touched one of them, my puberty would hit and I would end up, you know, getting bricked. So I ended up just tagging the guys instead, and basically we had a really good time until there was one moment where I was on the edge of the pool and there was a girl that was basically, I guess, kind of attracted to me back when I was in middle school, and she wanted me to tag her outside of the pool. So all my friends were telling me to go tag that girl, and I was like kind of in panic because I didn't want to. Like, I'd rather swim another like 10 laps and tag another guy than tag her. But all the guys were peer pressuring me too, so I got up out of the wet pool with my swim shorts attached to my skin and I tagged her. And right as I tagged her, I ended up touching her right on the cherries. I tagged her on the cherries. I don't know why. It just ended up happening because she was like about to run. But honestly, I will say this, right as I did that, I remember this girl ends up looking at me and staring right into my eyes. And then she looks down and says, "Bubba, what's wrong with you?" I ended up being super confused, saying, "Wait, why? What's wrong?" And then I looked down and I realized I was bricked. This girl caught me bricked. And it wasn't even like the hot girl from my school. It was just some like random chick. But since I ended up touching her cherries, I ended up getting super bricked. I don't know. It was so embarrassing and I was so nervous. And I remember from that moment, everyone was staring at me and I did not know what to do. I remember I started panicking even more and more and more. And it got to the point where I remember I ended up sprinting out of there. And I started running on the pool deck. And instantly, everyone started looking at me, laughing. And as I was running, I remember one of the lifeguards says, "Hey, stop running at the pool." But I kept running. I went to the change rooms. I basically showered as fast as I could, got changed, and left. I left the pool and I walked home. I didn't even go back to school with my class. I went home, went to my bedroom, and started crying. Honestly, I will say this. It was so weird. And I remember the next day when I got to school, it was the talk of the century. But hey, what can I say? If you are hitting puberty and going through those hard moments, try your best not to get bricked. Because, well, if you do, then you might relate to this. And you should fall for more embarrassing stories like this one. Peace out, guys.